Let me take you back to summer 2024. Real Madrid have just won yet again another Champions League, and despite in the competition not being the absolute best, they were able to get it over the line. In that game against Man City, the Etihad, they dug deep and in many ways don't seem to play under any sort of real tactics other than vibes and friendship, I guess. Jude Bellingham became the talisman at Real Madrid, scoring big goals at big moments in El Clásicos, and they had a aura to them in the same way they did many years prior under the Benzema, Bale, and of course Cristiano Ronaldo era. So then imagine signing Kylian Mbappe to what is already looking like a football super team. And you're talking more about not what they're going to win, but how fast will they win it. Last year, winning La Liga and the Champions League. Now this year, losing the Copa del Rey final to Barcelona, losing La Liga, and also being knocked out of Champions League quite early on. I mean, it's a quarter-final, but it's Real Madrid, and he lost to Arsenal convincingly, like 5-1 on aggregate. Making Gabriel Martinelli look like R9 Ronaldo at the Santiago Bernabeu makes me want to throw up a bit. So comment below your thoughts about Real Madrid's season, like, subscribe, and Mozilla Designs for the best football prints all made by myself. There's been tons of new prints because of all the crazy things that's happened recently. Playoff finals, whatever else, link down below. 50% off, use code Vizeh. Let's go. But yeah, this year has been a failure in almost every way, and Mbappe will be the main talking point here, that they won things last year and now they signed Mbappe and now they've won nothing, so it must be his fault. And I'm going to be the first one to say here that I don't think the blame should be completely on him. Yes, Mbappe had, for his standards, quite a poor start to the campaign, of course, being smashed by Barcelona multiple times. Barcelona have played Real Madrid 5 times this season and they've lost every game. They've lost 4-3, they've lost 3-2, they've lost 5-2, they've lost 4-0. Are you kidding me? Now, of course, the games have been incredibly entertaining, of course, but good lord, lads. This year has been a disaster. Like a complete disaster, especially after all the hope that came into the season. Again, you signed Kylian Mbappe. They have had little moments, yes. They beat Atalanta in the Super Cup and they had a decent game against Man City in the Champions League. Other than that, though, there's not really much more. We cannot forget about 2 very important details this year. There was, for example, the Ballon d'Or. I did a video on it back then, how many months ago, back in November. For me, in my opinion, Real Madrid are pathetic. I think that the players are pathetic. I think the club are pathetic in the way that they acted. You shouldn't act like a petulant child if you're seen as the best club in the world. So acting like there's some sort of agenda against Real Madrid when in that literal same event they won the award as the best club in the world makes no sense to me. If you're asking me, Vinicius Jr. or Rodri, who deserved to win? In my opinion, Rodri was the better footballer. Vinicius Jr.'s numbers literally wasn't even that good. He had some big moments in the Champions League, but can that win you the Ballon d'Or? For Vinicius Jr. to then come out and say, I'll do it 10 times if I have to, they're not ready, is just sad to me. In this Ballon d'Or season, he had 23 goals and 10 assists in the entire campaign. For example, Juan Felipe Mateta for Crystal Palace scored more goals than Vinicius Jr. And the thing is, even in that league season for Vinicius Jr., he didn't even win the Player of the Year for La Liga. He didn't even win the Player of the Year for Real Madrid. Not even Champions League goal scorer with 6 goals. And he's been diabolical for Brazil. Like, he's not the same player he is for Brazil than he is for Real Madrid. Like, that's clear. There's conversation about him literally not even starting, saying that Brazil is better without him in it. It's like saying that Spain are better without Rodri or Man City are better without Rodri. Of course not. And keep in mind, Vinicius Jr. at the age of 24 at that point only scored 5 goals for the entire national team. But yeah, for himself and the players and the club to not come to the event and to disrespect not just the event but other football clubs and other players as well, for me is just petulant. It's petulant, and if you don't think that is petulant, then you're a f***ing child yourself. And then there was the other one, where there was the Copa del Rey final, and there was a massive problem about the referees involving Real Madrid and this game. And then there was the other event where, before the Copa del Rey final, Real Madrid came out blasting the officials for unacceptable comments before the game, and despite in theory not considering boycotting. That was seen to be the opinion at the time, that they no longer did any pre-game news conferences, no media, no training session before the final. This all came when referees spoke about the consistent criticism that Real Madrid has always had on the officials. They spoke about this in a public setting in which they were angered by this, in which the referees called out how Real Madrid goes at the referees at times, where there's Real Madrid TV in the media sources at the club, where before the game they go into the decisions about the game and they critique the referees quite often. And in the words of the referee for this game at the time, the Burgos Ben Goretzkia, I'm so sorry for saying his name so wrong, we're seeing anonymous people on social media insulting people and threatening people without any sort of control. Club social media managers are constantly attacking our profession just for likes. It gives rise to the belief that we are not honest in our decisions. When you talk about being a thief, with the frustration you generate in fans, who pays the price is a little boy or girl who picks up a whistle and has to referee a children's game. It's a consequence of putting a target on someone's head. Which, I must say this as well, if you are someone that wants to be a referee, God help you. Just like, genuinely, who wants to be a referee? Who wants to be a referee in this day and age? Like maniacs, psychopaths at this stage. Like, you must enjoy being abused. You must get some kind of kink out of it at this stage. It's crazy. This season will be always looked back upon with Mbappe, and with him being the only difference in why Real Madrid went from winning things and no longer winning anything and being destroyed in El Clásicos. But he scored 42 goals in 55 games in all competitions. La Liga's top goal scorer. I wouldn't really say he's been a failure by any means. However, I would say that adding Mbappe to the mix may have upset the dynamic of how Real Madrid operate, where you've now got the Jude Bellingham problem with something of where would he fit in the team. As before, he would be a bit more high at the pitch, Jude Bellingham. He had to go a bit deeper or wider to accommodate Mbappe with Vinicius Jr. or with even Rodrigo, who's also not been on it really at all this year. So the kind of balance of how the team should be set up has been a problem almost the entire year. So that's the one main thing, is they just weren't really too aligned with each other, it seemed. And now Carlo Ancelotti has now got to Brazil, which is going to be interesting to see how he does over there. Yeah, and he wasn't particularly great this year, Ancelotti. He's going to end out with basically what is a failure. The defensive setup of the team has been kind of poor the entire year. Defensively, they've not really had much help or many options. He's had players that he's just not really used, like Arda Güler, for example, that he's just not really given really any opportunities at all, or even someone like Hendrick, and refusing to drop or even change any of the Mbappe, Vinicius, Rodrigo, Bellingham quadruple they got right there.
Yes, they'll be adding Trent and Hoyson to add to that defense, which is very much needed.
It looks like they're making their changes now. And with Xabi Alonso now coming in, it looks like next year should be better, you would hope, with now a new change of direction. So comment about your thoughts on Real Madrid. It's been a failure. Next year should be better. See you next time.